Fins up. Only fans, but with a PH. You heard? Yo. White, orange, and teal. The fins look real, you know it's a deal. There's blood, sweat, and tears. All up in his huddle with water to cook up a meal. My coaching in two where the combo was chill. Play action to chase, got hunger to feel. The cheetah is loose, he's going for blood. The end of the race only went for the kill. Miami, the city, the county, the block. We steady and packed, tail dead in the lot. Defense was strong and hard as a rock. Holland's a lock, and next one's a spot. Getting too hot, so turn up the fan. You look to the crowd, see Jimmy and Bam. Martin, Joe, and Sosa the mans. Your fellas, roll the clip, only fans.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Soso, and welcome back to the channel for another week of OnlyFans, a Dolphins post-game show with reaction, analysis, and a whole lot of heart. Now, before we get this party started, we ask that you hit the like button on this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel, and turn on the post notifications so you can catch our very next video. Now, with me today for the post-game recap, you know him, you love him, co-host of the Sports with Soso podcast, Joel, the delusional Dolphin. How you feeling about this game, my dog?
We're still a good team, so we're still a good team.
Are we though? Martin, he's our favorite skeptic, undoubtedly Scarlett Thompson's #1 fan. Martin, how'd you feel about the game, brother?
It wasn't as bad as everybody's making it out to seem. I'll say that.
I agree with you, brother, 100%, man. And you know, this game was tough, right? In case you've been living on the rock for the past 48 hours, 24 hours, the Dolphins lost 31-17 to the Philadelphia Eagles up in Philadelphia, and that drops the record now to 5-2. And that's important because the two losses that we have are two perennial playoff teams in the Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, granted, this game turned out a lot better than the Buffalo's game, but we still saw a lot of the same struggles that hindered us in that game, hinder us in this game against the Eagles. And everything kind of started off okay for the Dolphins, right? First drive of the game, Eagles received the ball to start the game. They drive down the field, end up kicking a field goal. Even though we saw early what their game plan was, right? They were going to try to go to the outside, explore those mismatches on the outside with Xavier Howard being out in the game. And Dallas got it, man. He got off to a good start, but the Dolphins' red zone defense kept Hurts on the wraps. We got a field goal. Eagles up 3-0. Then after that, things got ugly, right? Dolphins started to drive with a penalty on 30-15. Eagles D-line create pressure. We have an incomplete pass. And worst part about it, Isaiah Wynn goes down. When you guys saw Wynn go down, Martin, I know you've been a big proponent of him and how well he's been playing this year. What were your immediate thoughts, seeing one of our best linemen go down early in the game?
Normally, because of last year and what we've seen the last 5 years, probably, we never have depth at the O-line position. Right. But the worst part about it is that he's not only not the starter, he's the backup, and now our third string comes in. That's where you panic mode. You never want third string to come in. I don't care who you are. You're a third string for a reason. Isaiah Wynn has been very good. Our O-line has been very good. But overall, I don't think the O-line was a problem. So I'm not really – although the Eagles' D-line is one of the best in the league, I don't think it was the reason why we didn't look as good or crisp throughout the game, to be honest.
Joel, do you agree there with Martin that the offensive line wasn't really the problem from
like most things go on this show? Martin had me most of the way, and then at the very end, he just says one thing that I'm like – I can't fully commit to you, Martin. It was a problem, bro. I mean, if you watch this game, the offensive line was absolutely a problem. And granted, we're dealing with injury issues right now. No Teron Armstead, no Collar Williams, and then we lose Isaiah Wynn, so it's like we're already dealing with, with spare tires here, and our spares are going out, dog. So now we're trying to fix the flat, and trying to patch it up, and we see what happens. It could have been a lot uglier. I guess that's what Martin was trying to say. It could have been a lot worse considering all that happened, but there was a lot of mistakes. We weren't disciplined. A lot of, down the stretch, the guy that came in, I can't remember his name. And what was it?
Last name Colin.
I can't remember his first name.
His first name.
Yeah. Oh, Trevor. I'm just going to guess Trevor.
I'm pretty sure he had a false start, late in the game, one that cost us pretty big. And so, you talk about the penalties, the delay of games, just not being on the same page, inexperience on that, not being able to block anybody for, a run in the first half. Granted, I think that was a little bit more of the play calling. We were trying to run it inside the tackles when we're more of the motion outside kind of team. And we adjusted that in the second half, but we saw these guys still get to Tua, and we saw the mistakes, and we saw the penalties, and to me that was a big issue for this game.
Well, I kind of agree with both of you guys, right? The offensive line did have a bit.
Oh, we just lost. I don't know if I can hear. Can you hear him? I think we just lost Soso.
I can't hear him. No, I can't hear him.
I think this happened earlier. I think his mic disconnected or something like that. Like
I think it was my chance to come in here. I don't think the O-line was the issue because the run. First of all, yes, the play calling was probably the worst part about it. Go ahead, kick it back to Soso. Go ahead. I think I hear it.
My bad, guys. What I was going to say was that the offensive line did play a part, right? We saw him get the back-to-back. That shit kind of killed us. But we did jump up, kind of overcome that, right? As Win went out, we didn't know if he was coming back. Isaiah played that, Khan played that one play, whatever. We end up with punting the ball. Come back down, Eagles come back down, and that's when Chubbs gets his fumble. We were able to recover that fumble, which was huge, gave us a lot of momentum. But then Khan, subbing in for Win, had back-to-back penalties, which kind of killed us, right? Killed that touchdown that Tyreek connected with Tyreek Hill. And then, Tyreek Hill dropped a very catchable ball on 3rd and goal, end up kicking the field goal. We couldn't make anything happen after that turnover. And I think that has to play a part into the offensive line because we couldn't get a push. And that was evident in the running game. We were trying to get the running game going, whether it was inside the tackles, outside the tackles, it didn't matter. Offensive line couldn't get a push, and that shit just killed us, man. And then after we tied the game up by kicking the field goal, we get the stop on the Eagles team on a very good play on 3rd down. And then we have another dumb penalty by Wilkins, roughing the passer, which was a weak penalty call.
That was a horrible call.
So, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible.
No, absolutely it was.
The ref to make that call. That's why I don't like that shit.
No, forget about it. This was also this. I mean, I'm glad we didn't start off the show with this, but this was an onslaught of horrible calls by this officiating staff up in Philadelphia. I mean, the amount or the lack thereof that we got of calls, it was just so imbalanced. You mean to tell me that we got 10 penalties called against us and 0 against the Eagles? The Eagles are that perfect of a team that through 60 minutes of football, not a single penalty when we have tons of them on film? Bullshit. That was one that was a ticky-tacky ass call, man, and they wanted to prove a point.
Well, they proved it. What did you think about that roughing the penalty call, Martin?
Do I think it was unnecessary? Yes. I'm talking about Wilkins touching him. But at the end of the day, how many quarterbacks just get like little – that wasn't even a push. That was like, let me put my hands on you. It was more of a sell to me. But you gotta give it to Hurts. You're like, why not? I know, but the way this NFL is made is that QB is protected. That's it. QB is protected. That's the end of the NFL.
That's it. That's where it starts. That's where it ends.
They make the money. They're the ones that really get their viewers. It's not anybody else, man. Protect them. They rather see, hey, they made the call than they missed a roughing the passer later on or whatever the case. They rather see that.
And look,
because
truth be told,
it stays consistent.
And truth be told, he fell down. What if he hits his head like Tua has hit his head or other players, twist an ankle, something? They're going to protect the quarterback every single time. Wilkins has to know better. The one thing that killed me, besides him touching him, which I get it, you're a defensive player, you want to impose that physicality. I get it. But you're seeing the dude make the play. You're seeing him release the ball and your guy's knocking it down. You have no reason to touch that man. Don't give them the opportunity to make a bullshit call. Because, yeah, it was a bullshit call, Joel. But when you give the refs that opportunity, it keeps the drive alive. And guess what? Hurts connected with Goddard yet again for the touchdown. He was wide open to put the Eagles up 10-3. And then the Dolphins come right back, have another 3 and out, couldn't get anything going. Should have been a pass interference call that was missed on Burials, right, on that 3rd down play. Didn't get it. And now Hurts and company were able to move down the field yet again by keeping the play alive on 4th down, using the brotherly push to find A.J. Brown for a touchdown. So in that first quarter, the Dolphins had plenty of opportunities, even in that first half, plenty of opportunities to get shit going, and they just couldn't get out of their own way. However, we did convert on a 3rd and 18 to keep the drive alive, and then the 2-minute drill really worked to perfection. I want to talk to you guys and get your opinion on Tua's performance last night. He didn't play amazing, but he didn't play that bad either. The interception was his fault, but he also had guys drop passes. What were your thoughts on Tua's game today against the Eagles, Joel?
I mean, he's still my guy. You know what I'm saying? That's why I got this on. He made some amazing throws. some passes. There was one that he threw out to the left flat that I was like, oh, it's a pick six. And it ended up being in like the only spot where Tyreek could catch it. And it was incredible. Like they showed the replay and I was like, bro, how did that ball not get picked off? So maybe it was partially luck. I've seen enough from Tua to know that that's a lot, a lot of skill that he can make those throws when he wants. Sure. But, as far as the rest of the game, you take away that interception. He played a great game for what he had in front of him. He made the throws he needed to make. He got the ball to the guys that he needed to get the ball to. He had Jalen Waddle with some injury issues, was out of the game with some back spasms early on in the game and stuff. So he's down your second receiver, leaning more on Tyreek. They're bottling him up. Plus, he's got these monsters, Fletcher Cox and these guys running down, the O-line and not buying him any time. We have the stat. I don't have it in front of me, but the games where Tua is hurt or hit or touched
sacked
more. Yes. I don't even think it's sacked. I think it's even like QB rushes. But anyways, we'll go with sacked. I think it's when he sacked more than 2 times, we're like 10-10. And when he sacked less than 2 times, we're like 14-2 or something like that. It's something ridiculously crazy difference. So it's harder. It's harder when your back's against the wall at that point and you're forcing a play. Like that's what was happening there. It was like the game's already getting out of hand. He's trying to make something happen out of nothing. And frankly, on that play, pass interference too, in my opinion, dog. The linebacker that was covering was never turned around playing the ball. Darius Slay was the one playing the ball. I get it, but they could have easily called that, and I know that they would have called that on us because that's all they kept doing was calling penalties on us.
Martin, what do you think? Do you agree with Joel that Tua played great, or do you think he did enough in the game to win the game?
Yeah, this is going to be those rare occasions. Put a check mark or something next to this episode. I don't think this was anything to do with him. I don't think this was Tua's fault at all. I feel like it was the lack of commitment to the run game. One quarter, one half, whatever they said, we didn't do well. I think we were going about it all wrong, going up the middle versus the heart of their defense. You got to run to the outsides, but I will say I fucking hate us doing pitch plays. I don't understand how we're in I formation and we pitch the ball back to Mostert. You're just letting him know where you're going already, right? It's in his hands.
Couple of questionable calls, dog. Couple of questionable calls. Besides the Cedric Wilson little like double pass that we tried to run. And then on that 4th down, where frankly, bro, we didn't take the points. I'm old school in that train of thought. It's early enough in the game. Take the points. Take the points. Give yourself a break, a little breather, flip sides. You know what I mean? Make them earn it. And instead, we went for it. And it was like, bro, how do we not walk away with 3 there? Couple of questionable calls.
Go ahead, Martin. I'm going to bring up something. Go ahead.
No. Not only questionable is that you're putting yourself in a horrible situation with those 2 passes that were put with 2 receivers in the same vicinity. And it happened one on the biggest play of the game. That Slay pick doesn't happen if Waddle's elsewhere. You could be in the same to start the route, maybe get in the end zone, but you gotta be gone by the time that ball's out. Like he's looking at you completely because you're literally right where the ball's going. So I think if Waddle's not there, that's a touchdown. Mostert was coming back for the ball, and he was the only one with the eyes on the ball because the linebacker was lost. Linebacker was lost.
And it happened multiple times in the game, right? Where the guys are pretty much running routes in the same spot. There was one that involved Mostert as well, where he was close to it, right? But
flag.
Toss the flag, bro. They should have tossed the flag for the pass interference.
Mostert was in the vicinity, but like you said, Berrios was like 4 yards behind him, and it's totally our fault and our fault. And something else that I didn't really like, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but some of those motions play were way too close to the line. Where like the guys coming in motion as we're snapping, and I just felt like it was too close.
We saw the one. We saw the one where Tua had to slide basically as soon as he got it because the route was off.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And again, you're trying to do this timing play with guys that may not necessarily be accustomed to the timing. And yes, we saw Tua connect with Tyreek Hill, as we're going to see here on this beautiful 41-yard touchdown pass.
It was the play of the game as far as play of the game goes for the Dolphins.
Absolutely, but besides the amazing catch, I want you guys to notice one thing. Look at this pocket. Look at this pocket that Tua has when he's throwing that ball. Like that's the type of pocket that we need to have for Tua because he can step into the throws. And once he steps into the throw, it's going to be on the money. On the interception that he threw later on in the game, he didn't have a pocket to step into. What did he end up doing? Throwing off his back foot. And those are the things that I think that the Dolphins need to get better at removing from their games, especially against the bigger, better opponents. Philadelphia is a team that is really good. We ended up the first quarter with the fewest rushing yards since 2018. I think it was -7, -8. The defense was really playing well in the first half, but we had to clean up the penalties, and we couldn't get out of our fucking way. We had 8 penalties in the first half. We couldn't get out of our own way. Dolphins down 17-10. And it just got worse from there because the offense could never recover. First 2 drives, we ended up putting the ball back. One of them was that blatant face mask that they didn't call. And then again, we only got into it because the defense was doing their job up until that point. We got that pick 6 from Jerome Baker after Cato Crowe did one of his few good plays of the evening, where he was able to bat down the ball, and Baker was there in perfect time to make that catch and run it all the way back to the house. And even with that pick 6, I felt like the Dolphins didn't really use the momentum that was given to them by the defense, and we continue to flounder about. Just looked bad, man. And I think that because we spoke about this with the Bills game, right? Like when we had an opportunity to take down Josh Allen, we didn't do that. Same thing happened in this game. When we had an opportunity to take down Jalen Hurts, we couldn't bring this dude down.
Couldn't. And it was a matter of they're not, it's not 1st and 10 for these guys. It's 1st and 9. Let's be frank. Because anytime, all right, they didn't get it. All right, 2nd down and long. Let's call it 2nd down and 10. All right, we stop them. All right, 3rd down and 6. And then now they're looking at 4th and 1, 4th and 2. We saw that tush push coming a mile away. You know what I mean? And there's nothing we could do to stop it. I mean, we were off sides, encroaching and stuff because we're really trying to get in there and cram it and prevent it from happening. There's no way, you can stop that play. The only way you can prevent that play is just not be in that situation. And we were in that situation a lot against the Eagles, man. It sucks to see that.
And look, even on their next drive where they took the lead, Hurts connected with A.J. Brown for a red zone touchdown, and he connected with A.J. Brown.
Unstoppable. A.J. Brown was unstoppable this game.
He was unstoppable that game. You know what I'm saying? And both Cater Crowe and Van Ginkel had rough games. They had very poor tackling attempts. Couldn't bring anybody down on the first attempt. Yeah. That shit killed us. And for this defense, that's not an excuse, Martin.
Wow, are you telling Martin?
I agree.
Martin's the defensive guy.
You're telling Martin like he's the defensive coordinator, dog.
Guy. Well, you know what?
But
now that we're on this topic,
you can knock the defense all you want. They kept us in this game. They kept us in this game. We had 1 offensive touchdown. If it wasn't for the defense, we're not even. Joel's probably crying if the defense doesn't play as well as they did yesterday.
Nah, bro. Honestly, though, on the flip side, aside from the lone fluke pick 6, let's be frank, it's a fluke. It wasn't, he read it in coverage and he dropped back. It just fell our way. Finally, 1 break fell our way. And aside from that, dog, what did the defense really do? How many points did they let up?
They had pressure. They had pressure on him all game. The last
Martin, let me stop
they had
you
pressure.
Right there.
Yeah, did he extend the plays? Did he extend the plays? Yes, they had pressure on him. But did he
what good is pressure? What good is the pressure if we don't get the end result? Whether it's a defective pass,
that is
an
the best
incompletion,
O-line in the league.
It doesn't matter.
Pressure on the best O-line.
It doesn't matter.
In the league.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
We had corners that are not normally in their position, that they're literally usually nickel or maybe a backup corner playing your starting minutes versus A.J. Brown, which is an all-pro receiver, and Devontae Smith, or however you pronounce his name, which is a very good quality receiver. And they took advantage of that. But the pressure was there. Did we get to him? Did we sack him? No. But he was rattled the whole first half. You're going to tell me you got a team in the first 3 quarters to 17 points. They scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, no?
Yeah.
Or was it 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth?
No,
3 quarters of good football. It happens, man. We didn't put pressure on the Eagles.
No, they had a touchdown in the
two
touchdowns in the second quarter, a touchdown in the third, and a touchdown in the fourth to put the game away. What I'm saying is
but they had 17. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, but pressure, that shit does nothing. It does nothing because at the end of the day, if the D-line is getting there and we don't get the end result, which is, again, not necessarily a sack, but the defensive stop, the defensive tackle, the defensive play, the pressure means nothing. And truth be told, Hurts wasn't even bothered by the pressure. Yeah, we were pressuring him, but it didn't really make him an inaccurate thrower. It didn't really make him, you know what I mean? Like, he was 23 of 31, averaging 7.5 yards of throw. They had 355 yards of offense. Like, pressure doesn't necessarily equate to a good job. And that's why I think Fangio has to take some of this heat on himself. Granted, he's playing with a limited roster right now, right? Defensively, players who were available. And Xavier Howard missing the game early, being counted out earlier in the day, really hurt us. But at some point against a good team, we're going to have to play better. We're going to have to get sacks. We're going to have to get stops. And pressure isn't enough. You know what I mean? This defense is too good. And Fangio's getting paid too much, in my opinion, to just create, quote unquote, pressure.
They got to step it up. I mean, these 2 games, this sample size of, actual playoff contenders, Super Bowl contenders between the Bills and the Eagles, we have not shown up. Not just the defense. I'm not just clowning the defense, offensively sides, as well. Sure. Both units as a team. This team has not stepped up when they needed to in the 2 biggest games. And it's not reassuring when the Bills, who was one of our losses, just lost to our other division opponent who's struggling in the New England Patriots, and that the Eagles' only loss this year is from another division opponent in the New York Jets. Yeah. So why is it that they can get it done and we can't?
I don't know, man. And look, we talked about Tua's interception earlier. We were really driving. We had a hell of a drive. It was 45 yards, 8 plays. Like we were moving down the field, and I felt like, all right, we're gonna get right back into this game in the red zone, or close enough to the red zone to have an interception. That's unacceptable from Tua. You got to be that much better. And I'm a big time Tua supporter, but I'm getting tired of seeing him throw off his back foot and leading into interceptions. Like, you're a 50-year quarterback, you need to be better than that, dog. Like, straight up, you need to be better than that. That shit was not good, man. And then the Eagles came right back down. A.J. Brown, again, mossing Kader Kohu for 42 yards to set up 1st and goal. It looked like a touchdown. And then Gainwell punched it in for 6. And that was it, man. The Eagles converted 3 straight 4th and shorts on that drive to end the game. And that's why I say creating pressure wasn't enough. You had to get them out of that 4th and short situation. And every time on 3rd down, whether we created pressure or whatever, the Hurts got away from us. The first tackle got away from us, and we couldn't bring the guys down when we needed to, and it made it that much easier for them to convert those first downs. Are you a fan of the brotherly push, Martin, or are you like the rest of these guys that want to see it get it taken out of the NFL?
No, I think if they've executed it this well, they practice, which everybody in the NFL can do. No one's been able to do it so far. They do have the advantage of the best O-line in the league. Something else they worked on, they got to. So, yep. Yeah, I'm not taking away from them.
No, for sure. And they executed so perfectly every single time, dog. But I think that's why, like, Fangio and defense company could have done better, because you knew you had to keep those guys out of those 4th and short situations, especially making initial. That was the one thing that really bothered me. These guys will make the initial contact. Let's say it's 3rd and 7. The guy catches it for 4 yards, and that's the initial contact. He's not getting brought down. Second contact, not getting brought down. This guy's gaining those 2 yards to make it a 4th and 1. And it's like, well, that's a first down right there coming up for the Eagles. And that shit really killed the momentum and really put the game away for the Dolphins. The Eagles ended up winning 31-17, like we said. Dolphins never really got a chance to keep going. And then once we were down 14 points, they just pinned their ears back, kept going at the 2, and the game was a wrap. Thankfully, they showed mercy, kneeled the ball down, and they didn't score again when they had an opportunity to do so, right? Being 1st and goal at the 2-minute warning.
Classy move. The least they could have done after they paid off the refs.
And look, hats off to Philadelphia. The Eagles needed this game just as much as we did. Let's be honest. A lot of people were questioning their ability, their strength and schedule have been weak. They've been beating up on weaker teams, and they went out there and beat a good team in the Dolphins, right? We know we're a good team, so credit to them. Moving forward, we know that Jalen Ramsey's getting closer to getting back. We saw the precautionary move by holding on Xavier Howard in this game. I'm of the opinion that those 2 guys need to stay healthy for the rest of the season. They can't miss any more games. They can't afford to get hurt, because once one of those 2 guys go down, we're done. Like, we're not getting another great season from Kohu. Cam Smith hasn't even seen the field. Nick Needleman hasn't come back yet. I don't know where we're going to put another DB out there, but we need those 2 guys to stay healthy moving forward.
And we need our offensive line to get healthy too. That's the recipe for success right now. We need to get healthy.
Yeah. Martin, let me ask you a question. For this next game against the Patriots, right? We're going to go back to playing a tough AFC East opponent, but an inferior opponent, right? Even though they were able to pull off the upset earlier in the day, is this potential victory against the Patriots going to be like, we're back to our old selves? Or is it going to be like, man, we could only do this against inferior teams? When are we going to see this actually get put together? Are you expecting this team to be as healthy as possible on the lineup this Sunday coming up against the Patriots?
Well, they're saying Ramsey might be here this week or next week at the latest. Overall, I'm going to say until we beat a good team, which is coming up in 2 weeks, our next, our tough opponent, this Patriots game is just, hopefully you win, you squeeze it by whatever happens, and you get healthier for the following week. I don't really care about this winner versus the Patriots. Obviously, yes, you do, but on paper. But overall, it doesn't do nothing for our season. Like, beating the Patriots is just like beating any other team in the NFL. It's not something that gets us higher in the rankings or looks more legit for the season and what we've done. So let's see what happens. I really don't care about this game. I think it's pointless.
I hear you, and it should be a victory, just to take that bad taste out of our mouth for having a recent loss. What are your thoughts on this upcoming game against the Patriots, Joel?
Yeah, and the grand
one thing I will say, my bad. I'll rest X and Ramsey this week to be ready for the Chiefs easily.
I don't know, dog.
So, I get what you're saying when it comes to the grand scheme of the overall season, and this game, against the Patriots, not really meaning as much as this past week would have meant. But at the end of the day, it's a division opponent. It is the Patriots. These guys have given it to us for the last 20 years. We gotta go in there and beat them every chance we get. And bounce back, after a loss. We got to make sure that we show that we got some sort of emotion and we're pissed and we got some sort of, chip in our shoulder, So I really hope that we do have a bounce back, a big bounce back performance. And as far as, X and Ramsey, I don't know the extent of X's, injury and whatnot. If he needs the time, I feel more comfortable with him taking it off. However, if Ramsey is available, because he hasn't had time with our team and he hasn't really had time to play with them, I would like to see him play in maybe somewhat of an easier game against a New England Patriot, wide receiver core who really is led by Mike Gesicki and Kendrick Bourne and Devontae Parker.
Hey.
You know what I mean? Like, we know what they are. You know what I mean? So Jalen Ramsey coming back for that game, if he's available, wouldn't be the worst. But if he doesn't, come back to the Chiefs game, I'll be all right with that too.
I honestly think you got to play them both, because we don't know what Holland's status is going to be for the game. We saw him get that concussion. We know he's in protocols now. We know David Long Jr. is also in protocols for that concussion. Those guys collided. Holland stayed in the game, whatever, but he's in concussion protocol. Is he going to be cleared in time for the game? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you take this game to rest him and you bring back Howard, Ramsey to get a little bit of flow going and just solidify that spot and just maybe even if it's to work on defensive schemes, right? And see how we can line those guys up against a good opponent in the Patriots. I just think that we gotta at some point we're gonna need a marquee win. We're gonna need a big performance in a big game on primetime games, because that's what we've had recently, right? We were on Sunday Night Football. We're gonna be in Germany in 2 weeks. Like, we need a big performance. We need a big victory for this season to actually be cemented, to say, yes, the Dolphins have reached another level. You know what I mean? Let's see. I think that we're all in agreement, right, that this game is going to be quite easy against the Patriots. I think that the Patriots are going to be coming off a really high, and the Dolphins are going to be looking to get some type of redemption. So it's an important AFC East matchup. You guys said earlier that it doesn't count that much, but at the end of the day, we need to have more AFC victories, right? Whether it's for conference play, for the AFC East title, like whatever it is, we need to continue to get victories in the AFC. So this is a small step, but an important step, no doubt. Let me get some predictions for this Patriots game. Go ahead,
You want
Joel.
score? You want final score prediction?
Score. Everybody's taking a win.
I'm going to go, let's go 28-13.
Okay. Martin?
Yeah, 31-17, I think.
I got it 24-10. I just think that, like the first game that we played against them is going to be a little bit more defensively oriented, and the Dolphins have a lot of impressing to do on defense. So I'm expecting a real good showing here from this defense, man. we got to wrap this up, boys. We don't want to dwell on these losses too long, right? We got to forget about the loss, take our notes, and move on to the next game. Joel's going to be holding that flag until next week where we get some calls, man. Martin, Joel, I appreciate you boys joining us here, man, as usual on OnlyFans. And we appreciate you, the viewer, for tuning in. We love that you guys are subscribed to the channel. Keep helping us grow the show by telling a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't forget to hit the like button and drop a comment on this video. Until next time, it's your boy So. Peace.